And that's what just goes to show you. It's like God knows these boxes. God knows the kids that are going to get those boxes. That moment was set up for him.
Yep.
And God knew that.
How do you find and keep hope alive?
I will find hope in what Jesus Christ did for me.
Do we believe?
My hope is centered totally, completely in him.
Do we trust?
I have hope today because of what Jesus did on the cross.
His hope doesn't change.
Hope is triumph in our triumph.
What's going on, everybody? This is a very special edition of What Hope Sounds Like. I'm here with two amazing people. We've got Jeff Taylor, a voice and a face you might be familiar with, and Austin French, a voice you might be familiar with on the radio. What's going on, guys?
Hey.
Yeah.
And just having a great time in Belize.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you spoiled why it's a special edition here. That's probably why, if you're watching the video on YouTube here, the environment here is a little bit different.
Yeah.
Jeff, you want to explain where we're at?
Yeah, we're definitely not in Asheville at the Light FM studios. We are on location in the country of Belize. We had the incredible opportunity and the blessing to join Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child, for what they call a vision trip to Belize and be part of handing out shoeboxes all weekend and seeing an incredible gospel-centered ministry at work. We got to be part of so much here in Belize, and that's why we're here.
Yeah. Austin, maybe walk us through a couple stories that we've seen the past couple days here in Belize, like the children, the schools.
Man, it's been so sweet. So we show up at a school, or even, we were at a home for children today, and whatever the event, there is local teams, there's a national team, and they've been preparing. We've gotten to meet the people all the way that, receive the boxes and freights to clear customs and all these different logistics to get them here. And then we get to come in and kind of see, you would think it would be the final product. And that's kind of what I loved about this trip, is that you think the shoebox that you pack in the States getting to a kid's lap, that's it. You did it. But it's actually not, and I figured that out in this process. And so, we got to see these teams do a gospel presentation, and then we hand out boxes per age group and gender, and then they get to open these boxes, and it is this super amazing celebration. Kids are opening up their boxes, seeing these things, but before they do that, they give them this packet, and it's called the greatest gift, and then they get to invite them into what they call the greatest journey, and it's a discipleship program. I had no idea that was a part of these boxes in this ministry, but it's a 12-week program where they hear the gospel every week and get a chance to respond to Jesus every week. And man, the seeds that have been planted, really honestly, that box is just the ability, it's the beginning of the journey, for a lot of these kids. And that's really what my big takeaway has been.
Yeah, I know for me, like growing up, there's always, the church drives and the school drives getting boxes for Operation Christmas Child, and they always emphasize the boxes. And like you, Austin, while we're here, it's so much more than just shoe boxes. I think they said this morning the boxes for the kids, but when they open it, it's so much more. They're getting so much more than just what's in the box. They're getting set up with the gospel. They're getting set up with a program, the greatest journey, like you said, an 8-week journey. But what's cool for me is back in December, we had a live broadcast from the distribution center in Charlotte. So we kind of saw the entire lifespan of a box. So we all know, you probably at home have probably packed a shoebox for Operation Christmas Child, but we got the privilege back in December to see the distribution center in Charlotte, how they process those things, and then how they prepare to send them. And then now here in Belize, we got a chance to see them actually hand them to the child. And it was cool, the kids opening the boxes, and you're getting letters from Texas. I saw one from, I think, Charlotte, back home in Charlotte. So it's all over the place. But these shoe boxes mean so much to the kids. Jeff, you want to talk about the reactions of some of these kids' faces of the shoe boxes, and also like the lessons that they were taught before too.
Yes, that's a great point, that there's a lot of investment that goes into the kids before, during, and then after. And they're not sitting there. Here's what I didn't realize. They don't know they're getting a gift. So we walk into these places, and the kids are sitting there. Again, they've been invited. They've been part of something prior that either a church or a school or a children's home has done to prepare them to talk about Jesus. And under blankets up front, there are gifts. There are shoe boxes. Your boxes are waiting for them, and they don't even realize what's coming. So the greatest gift is presented. The story is told basically from creation to Christ. That kind of a story is told to them. And then the reaction. So the reaction, there's a spectrum. There's kind of a range. Again, they're not sitting there like kids on Christmas morning. This is not a Santa Claus thing.
No.
They make that very
Yeah.
clear.
Yeah.
This is not, what am I getting out of this? They don't know that they're going to get a physical gift. So some are elated to open the box. Others, there was one little boy that I talked to at our very first stop, that he sat there with his box on his lap after it was after they gave the okay. They told the Jesus story. Now you get a gift, and they do a countdown, a big build up, and they're blown away. He sat there with his box, and I asked him his name, and I asked him, was he going to open his box? And he kind of said yes. He was very subdued. He said, I miss my sister. His sister had died. And I didn't get the sense that it was that recent, but still there was hurt there. And those kids come in from all situations.
Yeah.
They bring all kinds of things in. He never, I didn't see him light up at all at first. About 30 minutes in, some of the other team members came around. More people started pouring into him, drawing him out. He got into that box, and you saw a smile. Some were much more reserved. Some were totally there, come and give you a hug. They're just happy. So it runs the gamut, and you really can't judge the impact of this thing based on what happens when a shoebox is open.
Yeah.
Because as the team made very clear, a kid opens a shoebox, God opens a heart.
Yeah.
Operation Christmas Child is an invitation to the kingdom of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fruit from that, what comes out of that, the salvation of these kids, it may not happen for some time. Some right away.
Yep.
Others, it may be as God works in all of our hearts. It's a different path. And so to see that, there is joy. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you learn not to expect a certain type of reaction. And God's going to meet that kid right where he is kind of the takeaway for me.
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe Austin, for you, I know you had an experience with a kid that was just thinking about his family the whole time. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, man, it was so sweet. You know, watching the boxes get open. There's a kiddo named Andy, and I'm sitting there just asking him questions about his life and what he's doing. I'm like, hey, let's go. What did you get in your box? And he opens his box, and he's like, I'm looking at a 8 to 10-year-old little boy that just got a stuffed kitty cat, and I'm like, he's probably not gonna love that. And his first response after seeing it was like, my sister would love this. Yeah, I'm gonna give this to my sister. And then he pulls out like a necklace, and he's like, oh, my mom's gonna love this. And and in a moment where you would think, oh man, he's kind of got like, I mean, there's some interesting items in there, but God knew, right? And his first response was, I can't wait to give this away. And I can't wait to make someone else happy with this. And then he kept going, and at the end of the box there was a shirt that said "Live generously," and I was like, "Man, do you know what that word means?" And he's like, "No," and I was like, "It's what you just did. Like you opened this and instantly didn't think about yourself. You thought about." My sister's gonna love this. Like, how can I bless my family? And that was just the sweetest thing. It was a moment. I mean, that whole moment was meant for him. What I thought, and that's what just goes to show you. It's like God knows these boxes. God knows the kids that are gonna get those boxes. Yeah. Even down to the "Live Generously" shirt. This little boy, he was already showing generosity in a moment where, like, that moment was set up for him. Yep. And God knew that, and so it was just a sweet discipleship moment, and just got to tell him about God's heart, like how He gives and how He gave the best gift, and how He's reflecting that kind of generosity about thinking of his family. Right. It was just so sweet, and it wasn't something I expected at all. Yeah. And it really blessed me.
Yeah. That was a bit of somewhat of a culture shock for me, with the kids opening the boxes, and they're thinking about the other kids around them. They're thinking about their family. They're thinking about their friends. I saw a lot of them. They were like showing each other the shoe boxes and trading this for that, or that for this. And then like you said, they're thinking of their family the whole time, being like, yeah, my mom would like this little necklace or whatever, and all these little knickknacks and things. Like, obviously, the little kids, they're playing with their toys and stuff. But the older kids, it's really cool to see the maturity in them, to think of their family and their others first. Right. And I really think that's a seed that's been planted in them from the church that they've been attending, from the lessons that they've been learning from their church. But what was really cool for me, going to these churches and learning about the shoeboxes and stuff, what was really cool for me is the opening of the box was probably a quarter of the time that we spent there.
That's
Like that really wasn't the point of emphasis when we were at these events.
Yeah,
You would think that the shoeboxes is the big, but the big thing, the one that took the most time, was the presenting of the gospel at the beginning. They take their time and walk through every single step from creation to Christ to what that means to you, and then they give a time of prayer and they give a time of response, and then after that they're like, and then the gift, and then after that, and then once they get through the presents, they invite them back to the greatest journey. The discipleship greatest journey program. Jeff, you wanna talk about kind of what we learned about the greatest journey and what happens after they get the shoebox?
They go into such its detail of how the Bible explains what it means to walk with Christ. The gospel is presented repeatedly throughout each lesson. And it's understood what it means to make a commitment, what it means to repent and trust Jesus, what it means to grow, what it means to stay close to Him. Like today we sat in on lesson 8 at one of the projects in the greatest journey out of the 12 lessons. And so they're walked through like what it means to stay close to Jesus, what it means that He won't leave you. No one else in your life can always be there. And those kids, they listen, they pay attention. And then at the end, they mention this, that these kids, many of them, will become the first missionaries to their families.
Wow, yeah.
And so it's very evangelistic, not just for the kids that come to hear the gospel, but to send those kids then out as they become followers of Christ. So it is so well done. The logistical chain that it takes, like Austin, you were talking about, is mind-blowing. There's layers and layers. By the way, the vast majority, volunteers, people that are just trying to get through life and have a lot to do. They have their own families, have their own concerns, and they pour into
out of
this
the
project.
overflow of their heart.
Out of the overflow. Jesus moves in their heart to invest in these kids who then in turn want to go tell their friends and their families about Jesus, and they're discipled to do that. Come on.
What was cool for me
great.
is learning the impact, not just on the kids, but the parents and the families. And we saw a very specific example today of the impact, the message, or just the people that help with it, the volunteers and the people and the message behind, the parents sitting in and listening to the message. Austin, you wanna touch on the example that we saw today?
Yeah, it was wild.
The impact?
We were at the church, and meanwhile we're there playing with kids and listening to the greatest journey and listening to the Bible story and loving on these kids and watching them go through the discipleship program. Meanwhile, in the back of the church, one of the bus drivers that was actually working with the security team this week, through him being around this message and hearing about what God can do in his life and through these kids, he gave his life to Jesus at the back of the room. We got to pray for him and introduce him to a local pastor that's like, hey, now this is your church. This is where you will grow. This is now your greatest journey begins. And it was just wild. This guy had, from what I understand of his story, had been in jail in the past and struggled with alcohol. And it was like, man, I am done. I'm done with it. And talking to the security guys, even the security guys on this trip, have been sharing the gospel. And you think you came on this trip for the kids, right? And it's like you have no idea. That's the thing. The message of Jesus meets anywhere, anytime, because it is the greatest message ever told. And it found a security car driver that's been along with the groups today. So and that's just the power of the message of Jesus, and who knew, that a shoebox shipped to Belize would lead to a van driver accepting Jesus.
Who knew a little church family out in Texas? I saw a lot of Texas today.
A lot.
Who knew a church family out in Texas was going to send a shoebox to Belize and a bus driver is going to get saved because
you can't write that story.
No, you can't. Only God can orchestrate that sort of
and there's
thing.
12 million opportunities a year. That's the number of shoeboxes.
12 million.
12. Out of the 12 million. Imagine that. And they told us a shoebox could affect up to 6 people. Again, they go back to their families, bus drivers. There have been people who we've encountered, I think someone who was working in a shop. I've heard stories of people going, oh, you're with Samaritan's Purse. I got a shoebox when I was a kid.
Yeah,
Like the
we've heard a lot of
generational
those.
effects already
Yeah.
Yep.
have just been incredible. That the effect in the community is already there,
Yeah.
and God's just continuing to move and
Yeah.
save and change lives.
Yeah, even our leader today, Jose, or the past 2 days,
Yeah.
Jose, he can vividly remember opening his first box.
Yes.
And now he's out leading the
Yes.
charge in
Yeah.
terms of getting all these shoe boxes where they're supposed to go
Right.
in these different zones and
Yeah.
districts. But that's just the impact it had on him.
Right.
But so we'll kind of wrap up here with, one final thought, one final nugget to someone who maybe on the fence about, packing a shoebox, maybe, hesitant about the impact it kind of makes. Maybe one final thought from you, Jeff.
I would say don't stress about what you put in a box. Do it.
Yeah.
Just do it. Okay, think about what you put in a box. But yes, a soccer ball,
ball.
by
Soccer
the way,
balls are a hit.
universally, yeah.
Do it.
But I'd say just do it, pray over it,
Mm-hmm.
and let God take that, and just realize if you do it, you're part of the largest child evangelism outreach, according to stats, in the history of the world.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, one more maybe final thought from you,
Yeah,
Austin.
honestly, it's just incredible. I mean, just do this with your family. Live generously.
Yeah.
Live generously. Pack a shoebox. We're getting to see the little faces that a family in Texas or a church in
Yeah.
Texas was praying over, and it's changed my world. And so envision those faces when you're packing your boxes. And if you got kids, I'm a dad. And so what we do is we pack boxes for kids that my kids are the same age as. And so get your kids involved. Like I can't think of a better way to teach your kid generosity and missions. And it does that. So I would encourage all the dads out there, all the families out there, do it with your kids and let them be a part of changing someone's world.